50 insane facts about Louisiana. Did you know Louisiana is the only place in America where you can legally order a frozen daiquiri from a drive-thru? Or that pirates once ruled the bayous, helping save America from British invasion? Well, strap in. Louisiana is overflowing with wild, weird, utterly Louisiana-sized facts. And we've got 50 of them for you. Let's dive into the bayou. Fact 50, where you can legally drive through for frozen cocktails. Only in Louisiana can you pull up to a window, order a frozen daiquiri, and drive away legally, as long as the lid stays sealed and the straw remains unwrapped. This glorious loophole began in Lafayette in 1982, when David Irvin opened the first drive-thru daiquiri stand. When lawmakers passed an open container law, he sealed the cups with tape over the straw hole. The loophole held. Today, frozen daiquiri stands dot highways statewide. The law explicitly states it doesn't apply unless the lid is removed or a straw protrudes through it. Tourists gawk. Locals treat it like a Starbucks run. This is Louisiana. Drinking culture meets legal creativity. Fact 49. The pirate who became an American hero. Jean Lafitte, the gentleman pirate, ruled the Gulf of Mexico from his kingdom of Barataria south of New Orleans, commanding over 1,000 men and a fleet more powerful than the U.S. Navy in the region. When the British offered him riches to switch sides during the War of 1812, Lafitte instead warned American authorities and offered his forces to General Andrew Jackson. His pirates provided crucial artillery and fighters that helped win the Battle of New Orleans in 1815. Jackson pardoned Lafitte, and the pirate became a folk hero. Legend says his allies plotted to rescue Napoleon from exile. They built a house for him that still stands. Lafitte's ultimate fate remains a mystery, adding to the legend. Fact 48. Built on a mountain of salt deeper than Everest. Avery Island isn't actually an island. It's a massive salt dome rising 163 feet above coastal marshes. The solid rock salt beneath is thought to be deeper than Mount Everest is tall. During the Civil War, the Confederacy mined 22 million pounds of salt to preserve meat for troops. Today, the McElhenney family has made Tabasco sauce here for over 150 years, using peppers, vinegar, and Avery Island salt. The sauce ages up to 3 years in white oak barrels, then ships to 195 countries. The family also created Jungle Gardens, a 170-acre wildlife sanctuary where endangered snowy egrets were saved from extinction. It's geology, history, wildlife conservation, and hot sauce empire on one bizarre salt mountain. Fact 47. Parishes instead of counties, and it's the only one. Louisiana is the only state divided into parishes instead of counties. All 64 of them. This dates back to 1699, when Spanish colonial administrators organized territory using Catholic Church parish boundaries. Even after statehood in 1812, Louisiana kept the system. The names reflect multicultural heritage: St. Tammany, Plaquemines, Terrebonne, Evangeline. Some parishes stretch 75 miles down the coast. Others are tiny urban districts. The parish system affects local government differently than county-based states. It's a constant reminder that Louisiana marches to its own drum, shaped by French and Spanish colonial systems that predate American governance. Fact 46. 2 million alligators lurking in the swamps. Louisiana harbors approximately 2 million wild American alligators, more than any state except Florida. They're everywhere: bayous, swamps, golf courses, swimming pools, occasionally crossing highways. After near extinction in the 1960s, conservation brought them roaring back. Now Louisiana has 300,000 more on commercial farms. The alligator industry generates $57 million annually. Over 2,000 licensed hunters harvest 30,000 to 35,000 wild gators yearly during regulated season. Alligator watching tours attract tourists gliding through cypress swamps spotting these prehistoric reptiles. Locals treat 12-foot gators with casual respect. Leave them alone. They'll probably leave you alone. Probably. Fact 45. The Atchafalaya, America's largest swamp. Stretching across nearly 1 million acres, the Atchafalaya Basin is the largest wetland and swamp in the United States. This vast wilderness of bald cypress trees, Spanish moss, and winding bayous looks prehistoric. The basin receives 30% of the Mississippi River's flow, creating an ever-changing maze of channels. It hosts the largest nesting concentration of bald eagles in the South, plus black bears, alligators, and countless bird species. Cajun families still live on houseboats deep in the swamp. The basin provides flood protection, filters pollutants, and supports Louisiana's fishing industry. Driving across the 18-mile Atchafalaya Basin Bridge feels like crossing an alien planet. Fact 44. New Orleans, the city that refuses to die. New Orleans sits mostly below sea level in a bowl between the Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain, relying on levees, pumps, and sheer stubbornness to exist. Hurricane Katrina in 2005 flooded 80% of the city, killed over 1,800 people, and caused catastrophic destruction. Experts said New Orleans might never recover. The city proved them wrong. Through music, food, culture, and indomitable spirit, New Orleans rebuilt. Hurricane Ida in 2021 tested the improved levee system, which held. Above-ground cemeteries exist because the water table sits so high that bodies would float up. New Orleans just accepts its weirdness as part of the package. Fact 43. Mardi Gras madness that shuts down the state. Mardi Gras isn't just a party, it's a cultural institution celebrated for hundreds of years. The tradition arrived with French settlers in the 1700s, making it older than the United States. While New Orleans gets the glory, Mardi Gras is celebrated statewide with distinct regional flavors. Crew parades throw millions of beads and trinkets. King Cake season runs from January 6th through Fat Tuesday. It's illegal to ride a Mardi Gras float without wearing a mask, a law dating to the 19th century. Entire families claim parade spots days in advance. Schools close, businesses shut down. Then Ash Wednesday arrives and the state collectively nurses its hangover. Fact 42. Jazz was born here, on purpose. New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz. The unique melting pot of French, Spanish, African, Caribbean, and American influences created perfect conditions. Congo Square, where enslaved people were allowed to gather and play drums, became a crucible for musical innovation. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, musicians blended European classical music with West African rhythms, blues, and ragtime. Legends like Buddy Bolden, Jelly Roll Morton, and Louis Armstrong pioneered the genre. Preservation Hall maintains traditional jazz. Frenchmen Street hosts nightly performances. Jazz Fest draws hundreds of thousands annually. The music shaped American culture globally. Jazz, blues, rock and roll, R&B, and hip-hop all trace roots here. Fact 41. Voodoo isn't just Hollywood nonsense. Voodoo has deep roots in New Orleans, arriving with enslaved West Africans who brought their Vodun spiritual practices. When combined with Catholic saints and local traditions, Louisiana voodoo became its own distinct practice. Marie Laveau, the legendary voodoo queen, practiced in the mid-1800s. Her tomb in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 remains a pilgrimage site where visitors leave offerings and mark it with X's, believing it grants wishes. Voodoo shops sell gris-gris bags and ritual candles throughout the French Quarter. Voodoo isn't Hollywood dolls and curses. It's a complex spiritual practice involving healing, protection, and honoring ancestors. Authentic practitioners still work in the city.
Fact 40. The longest bridge over water in the world. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway stretches 23.83 miles across open water, the longest continuous bridge over water in the world. Driving across is surreal. For 8 miles in the middle, you lose sight of land entirely. Opened in 1956 with a second span added in 1969, the causeway handles 40,000 vehicles daily. The bridge has its own police force, ambulance service, and drawbridge. On foggy days, driving the causeway becomes genuinely unnerving. Some drivers experience panic attacks. It's an engineering marvel that feels like driving across an optical illusion. Fact 39. Crawfish season is basically a religion. From January through June, Louisiana transforms into crawfish-obsessed madness. Louisiana produces 90 to 95% of America's crawfish, about 100 to 150 million pounds annually. Proper etiquette is serious. Pinch the tail, suck the head. Boils include corn, potatoes, sausage, and whole garlic in spicy water. Newspapers get spread across tables. Beer flows. Breaux Bridge claims the title Crawfish Capital of the World. Festivals draw massive crowds. Restaurants advertise daily prices, fluctuating with supply. When crawfish are cheap and plentiful, Louisiana rejoices. When prices spike, people grumble but pay anyway. You don't skip crawfish season. Fact 38. Napoleon almost retired here. The Napoleon House in the French Quarter was genuinely prepared as a refuge for Napoleon Bonaparte. After his 1815 exile, former Mayor Nicolas Girard and French loyalists, including pirate Jean Lafitte, plotted to rescue Napoleon and bring him to New Orleans. Girard's residence was expanded to accommodate the exiled emperor. The plot involved Lafitte's pirates sailing to St. Helena and abducting Napoleon. The plan never launched. Napoleon died in 1821, but the building remains, now a famous bar serving muffaletta sandwiches and Pimm's cups. The bar introduced the Pimm's cup to America. Classical music drifts through the unmaintained space with peeling plaster. It's a monument to a rescue that never was. Fact 37. The state capitol that hugs the sky. The Louisiana State Capitol in Baton Rouge stands 450 feet tall, the tallest state capitol in the United States. Built during Governor Huey Long's administration in 1931 to 1932, it towers 143 feet taller than the U.S. Capitol. Huey Long was assassinated in the building in 1935. Bullet holes still mark the walls. The observation deck offers panoramic views of Baton Rouge and the Mississippi River, because Louisiana does things bigger. Fact 36. The oldest permanent settlement in the Louisiana Purchase. Natchitoches, founded in 1714, is the oldest permanent settlement in the Louisiana Purchase territory, predating New Orleans by 4 years. French-Canadian explorer Louis Juchereau de Saint-Denis established a fort and trading post along the Red River. Historic buildings line Front Street overlooking Cane River Lake. Natchitoches hosts the nation's oldest Christmas festival, with the riverbank illuminated by hundreds of thousands of lights. The town was featured in steel magnolias. Meat pies are a local specialty.
Fact 35. Oak trees older than America. Live oaks draped in Spanish moss are Louisiana's signature trees, some over 500 years old. The Seven Sisters Oak near Lewisburg is estimated at 1,200 years old. Oak Alley Plantation features 28 live oaks planted in the early 1700s, forming a perfect quarter-mile canopy. City Park in New Orleans contains over 2,000 trees, some 600 years old. These trees witnessed Native American civilizations, French colonization, slavery, the Civil War, hurricanes, and modern Louisiana. They survived Katrina when newer trees fell. They're monuments to resilience. Fact 34. The St. Louis Cathedral, America's oldest active cathedral. The St. Louis Cathedral in Jackson Square, built in 1789, is the oldest continuously active Roman Catholic cathedral in the United States. Its 3 steeples dominate the French Quarter skyline. Named for French King Louis IX, the cathedral has witnessed centuries of New Orleans history. Inside, murals and stained glass filter ethereal light. Andrew Jackson's equestrian statue stands before the cathedral. The cathedral survived fires, hurricanes, and Union occupation. It remains the spiritual heart of the French Quarter. Fact 33. Where every small town crowns itself capital of something. Louisiana's small towns don't mess around with modesty. Breaux Bridge is the crawfish capital of the world. Rain is the frog capital. Des Allemands declared itself catfish capital of the world in 1970. When Mississippi claimed the same title, Louisiana promoted Des Allemands to catfish capital of the universe. Covington is the blueberry capital. Opelousas is the spice capital. This isn't arrogance, it's Louisiana owning its regional specialties with fierce pride. Festivals celebrating these titles bring communities together. Fact 32. The Louisiana Purchase was history's best real estate deal. In 1803, President Jefferson negotiated to buy New Orleans for $10 million. Napoleon countered with an offer to sell the entire Louisiana territory for $15 million, doubling U.S. size overnight. The 828,000 square mile purchase cost about 3 cents per acre and became all or part of 15 states. It stretched from New Orleans to Canada, from the Mississippi to the Rockies. This single transaction shaped American destiny, and it's named after Louisiana. Fact 31. Above-ground tombs that look like cities. New Orleans' Cities of the Dead feature above-ground tombs because the water table sits so close to the surface that buried coffins would float up. Families built marble and stone structures ranging from simple vaults to Gothic masterpieces. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 hosts Marie Laveau's tomb, covered in X marks from wishmakers. Lafayette Cemetery features whitewashed tombs and crumbling angels. These cemeteries became tourist attractions and film locations. The tombs reach oven-like temperatures in summer, allowing families to reuse them after a year and a day. Fact 30. Beignets and Café au lait at 3 a.m. Café du Monde has served beignets and café au lait 24/7 since 1862, only closing for Christmas and hurricanes. The open-air cafe overlooks Jackson Square. Beignets, fried dough covered in powdered sugar, arrive 3 to an order, impossibly hot and messy. The sugar goes everywhere. Café Olé blends strong chicory coffee with scalded milk. The menu hasn't changed in 160-plus years. Locals have preferred tables. Waiting in line at 3 a.m. with drunk revelers and early tourists creates unlikely community. Fact 29. The French Quarter isn't actually French. Most French Quarter architecture isn't French, it's Spanish. Two fires in 1788 and 1794 destroyed original French buildings. Spain controlled Louisiana then, so reconstruction followed Spanish colonial style. Stucco walls, iron balconies, thick brick columns, central courtyards. French street names remain, but those romantic wrought iron balconies, Spanish. The hidden courtyards with fountains, Spanish design. The combination created something unique, a French-named district with Spanish buildings and distinctly New Orleans character. Fact 28. Red beans and rice on Monday. It's the law. Well, not technically, but Monday red beans and rice is sacred tradition. The custom dates to the 19th century when Monday was laundry day. Women would put a pot of red beans on with leftover Sunday ham bone, letting it simmer while doing wash. Restaurants across Louisiana serve red bean specials on Mondays. Home cooks maintain the tradition. The dish is humble, inexpensive, and delicious. Red beans, the holy trinity. Onions, celery, bell pepper, garlic, and pork. Proper red beans have creamy consistency from smashing beans against the pot. Fact 27. The most haunted city in America. New Orleans claims America's most haunted city with enthusiasm. The LaLaurie Mansion on Royal Street, where Madame LaLaurie tortured enslaved people in the 1830s, is notoriously haunted. Hotel Monteleone's rotating carousel bar has ghostly children. The Andrew Jackson Hotel, formerly an orphanage, has ghost children who died in a fire. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 has restless spirits. Ghost tours run nightly. Whether you believe or not, walking the French Quarter at night past shuttered buildings and gas lamps creates atmosphere where ghosts seem plausible. Fact 26. Shotgun houses define the landscape. Shotgun houses, narrow rectangular homes with rooms arranged single file, dot Louisiana neighborhoods. The name supposedly comes from firing a shotgun through the front door and having the shot exit the back without hitting walls. These homes, 12 feet wide and several rooms deep, appeared in New Orleans in the early 1800s, influenced by Haitian, African, and Creole traditions. The design maximized urban lots, provided cross-ventilation, and kept costs low. Shotgun houses became working-class architecture across the South. In New Orleans, they're painted vibrant colors and recognized as architectural heritage.
Fact 25. The first American opera premiered here. The first opera performed in America happened in New Orleans in 1796. Sylvain by André Grétry was staged in a French Quarter theater. New Orleans' French and Spanish heritage created sophisticated cultural taste that embraced opera decades before most American cities. The French Opera House, built in 1859, became one of America's premier opera venues until it burned in 1919. Today, the New Orleans Opera Association continues the tradition. Somehow, New Orleans balances high culture and street culture, operatic sophistication, and brass band second lines. Fact 24. Huey Long, the kingfish who ruled Louisiana. Huey P. Long served as Louisiana governor, 1928 to 1932, and U.S. Senator, 1932 to 1935, wielding enormous power. The kingfish built roads, bridges, hospitals, and schools across rural Louisiana, taxing oil companies to fund populist programs. He provided free textbooks, expanded LSU, and built the current state capitol. Long was also autocratic and corrupt, controlling the legislature and judiciary. His Share Our Wealth movement proposed radical wealth redistribution. In September 1935, Long was assassinated in the state capitol. His legacy remains debated: champion of the poor or would-be dictator? Probably both. Fact 23. Zydeco music makes you move. Zydeco music emerged from Louisiana's Creole culture, blending African rhythms, Cajun influences, blues, and R&B. The accordion and washboard, frottoir, define the sound. Clifton Chenier, the king of Zydeco, brought the genre to wider audiences in the 1950s to 70s. The music makes standing still impossible. Zydeco festivals celebrate the tradition statewide. Dance halls keep traditions alive. Younger artists blend Zydeco with hip-hop and pop. The music represents Creole cultural pride and Louisiana's ability to create uniquely American art forms from cultural fusion. Fact 22.
Muffaletta, the sandwich that requires strategy. The muffaletta sandwich, invented at Central Grocery in 1906, is a 10-inch round seeded loaf filled with ham, salami, mortadella, mozzarella, provolone, and olive salad. The olive salad, marinated olives, giardiniera, olive oil, garlic, soaks into the bread. Muffalettas are massive, easily feeding 2 people. Proper protocol involves quarter sections eaten with both hands while olive oil drips down your arms. Central Grocery still makes them traditionally. The sandwich represents New Orleans' Italian immigrant heritage, Sicilian flavors adapted to Louisiana tastes. Fact 21, where you can walk around drinking legally. New Orleans' go-cup culture is legendary and legal. Bars provide plastic cups for unfinished drinks so patrons can take them on the street. Walking Bourbon Street with a hurricane is not just accepted, it's the point. Open container laws allow drinking on streets in the French Quarter and certain other zones. Bars strategically place to-go windows. This isn't anarchic hedonism. It's Louisiana's relaxed relationship with alcohol rooted in French and Spanish Catholic culture. Just don't drink from glass containers on the street. Plastic only.
Fact 20. LSU football is basically a statewide religion. Louisiana State University football doesn't have fans. It has disciples. Tiger Stadium holds 102,000-plus screaming fans, creating one of college football's most intimidating environments. Saturday night games glow under lights, while grown adults lose their voices. Mike the Tiger lives in a $3.7 million habitat on campus. Tailgating starts Thursday. LSU's national championships, 1958, 2003, 2007, 2019, became state holidays in everything but name. When LSU wins, Louisiana wins. When LSU loses, the state mourns. Football binds the state across divides like nothing else. Fact 19. Bourbon Street is named after royalty, not whiskey. Bourbon Street is named after the French royal house of Bourbon, not the whiskey. The street was named in 1721 when Louisiana was a French colony under Louis XV. Most French Quarter streets honor French royalty or Catholic saints. Bourbon Street evolved into the entertainment center during the 20th century, but the name predates the party by 2 centuries. Ironically, bourbon whiskey is mostly associated with Kentucky. The street's wild reputation and royal name create delightful irony. Fact 18. Every celebration ends with king cake. King cake season runs from January 6th through Mardi Gras. The oval cake, braided and decorated with purple, green, and gold icing representing justice, faith, and power, contains a hidden plastic baby. Whoever gets the baby must buy the next king cake or host the next party. Bakeries produce thousands. Flavors range from traditional cinnamon to cream cheese, praline, and strawberry. King cakes arrive at offices daily. When Mardi Gras ends, king cakes disappear until next year. It's dessert that doubles as game, tradition, and social obligation. Fact 17. Louisiana French is dying, but fighting back. Louisiana French, including Cajun and Colonial French, was once spoken widely. Forced English-only education in the early 20th century nearly killed it. By the 1970s, only older generations spoke it fluently. Louisiana created Codophil in 1968 to preserve French. French immersion schools have emerged. Young people increasingly embrace Cajun identity and language. Louisiana French differs from Parisian French, incorporating older forms and unique vocabulary. Phrases like lagniappe, a little extra, entered broader Louisiana English. The language carries cultural identity and Cajun Creole heritage. Fact 16. Nutria, the invasive swamp rats you can eat. Nutria, large semi-aquatic rodents resembling 20-pound rats, are Visa's pests and potential food source. Edward Avery McElhenney of Tabasco fame imported nutria to Avery Island in 1938 for fur farming. They escaped and multiplied. Now millions destroy Louisiana wetlands, eating vegetation faster than it can regrow. Louisiana encourages nutria hunting, paying bounties per tail. But nutria meat is low-fat, high-protein, and sustainable. Chefs prepare nutria dishes. The Seafood Promotion Board rebranded it as Coastwise. Still, convincing people to eat swamp rodents faces resistance. Fact 15. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway has its own police force. The 24-mile causeway requires specialized services. The Causeway Police patrol the bridge, responding to accidents, stalled vehicles, and medical emergencies. Fog creates hazardous conditions, High winds rock vehicles. Some drivers panic midway. The Causeway Commission maintains everything: bridge structure, police, emergency services, toll collection. It operates like a small municipality focused on keeping traffic moving safely across open water. Fact 14. Louisiana loses a football field of land every 100 minutes. Louisiana's coastline is disappearing at catastrophic rates. The state loses approximately 75 square kilometers annually, roughly one football field every 100 minutes. Barrier islands vanish. Communities like Isle de Jean-Charles are evacuating as land sinks. Causes include oil and gas extraction, navigation channels, levees preventing sediment replenishment, and climate change. These wetlands provide hurricane protection, fishing, wildlife habitat, and cultural heritage. Restoration efforts are enormous but essential. Louisiana is on climate change's front lines. Fact 13. Toledo Bend Reservoir. Texas and Louisiana share a massive lake. Toledo Bend Reservoir, straddling the Louisiana-Texas border, is the largest man-made lake in the South. Created in 1969, the reservoir covers 185,000 acres with 1,200 miles of shoreline. It's a bass fishing paradise. Communities on both sides benefit from recreation. The reservoir provides flood control, hydroelectric power, and water supply. The state line runs down the middle. You can cross states by boat mid-lake. Fact 12. The highest point in Louisiana is only 535 feet. Driscoll Mountain reaches 535 feet above sea level, Louisiana's highest natural point. It's not even technically a mountain. You can practically walk up it in sneakers. Louisiana is pancake flat, dominated by coastal plains and swamps. Meanwhile, New Orleans sits 8 feet below sea level. The flatness shapes Louisiana's character: vulnerability to flooding, abundant wetlands, and the sense that land and water exist in constant negotiation. Fact 11. Louisiana's Creole and Cajun cultures aren't the same thing. Creole and Cajun are distinct Louisiana cultures. Creole originally referred to people born in Louisiana of French or Spanish descent, but evolved to include mixed-race heritage combining French, Spanish, African, Caribbean, and Native American ancestry. Cajuns, Acadians, descend from French-speaking colonists expelled from Canada in the 1700s who settled in rural southwestern Louisiana. Both contribute to Louisiana identity, but with different histories, foods, and music. Creole food tends to be refined and tomato-based. Cajun food is rustic and roux-based. Zydeco is Creole music. Cajun music features accordion and fiddle.
Fact 10. The German coast shaped Louisiana history. The German coast upriver from New Orleans was settled by German immigrants in the 1720s. These settlers brought farming expertise, establishing food production for New Orleans. German names were Gallicized. Zweig became La Branche. In 1811, the German coast saw the largest slave rebellion in U.S. history when 200 to 500 enslaved people marched toward New Orleans before being stopped and brutally suppressed. This history reveals Louisiana's complexity: multiple immigrant groups, violent resistance to slavery, and cultural blending that created modern Louisiana. Fact 9. Louisiana's political corruption is legendary. Louisiana politics aren't just corrupt, they're legendarily, flamboyantly corrupt in ways that become folktales. Edwin Edwards, four-term governor, was convicted of racketeering but remained popular. His campaign slogan against David Duke, "Vote for the crook, it's important," he won. Ray Nagin and William J. Jefferson were convicted of corruption. Huey Long built infrastructure while running Louisiana like a personal fiefdom. Louisiana politics reward charisma, forgive corruption if you're entertaining, and maintain cynical acceptance that officials are probably stealing but at least accomplish something. Fact 8. Boudin, the sausage you eat from the casing. Boudin is Cajun sausage made from pork, rice, and seasonings. You bite the casing and squeeze the filling into your mouth, then discard the casing. Every meat market and gas station in Cajun Louisiana sells warm Boudin links. Varieties include traditional pork, Boudin rouge with blood, smoked Boudin, and Boudin balls, deep fried. Proper Boudin has rice mixed throughout. It's road trip food, breakfast, snack, or dinner. The Boudin Trail maps Boudin shops across southwestern Louisiana. Boudin debates rival those over gumbo. Fact 7. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve hides in salt domes. Louisiana and Texas host the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve, 714 million barrels of crude oil stored in underground salt dome caverns. Louisiana has 4 sites storing oil for emergency use during supply disruptions. These massive caverns, carved from ancient salt deposits, sit hundreds of feet underground in spaces as large as skyscrapers. Louisiana's geology provides perfect storage. The reserve represents energy security infrastructure invisible to most Americans, but critical during crises. Fact 6. Louisiana birthed the cocktail. The Sazerac, created in New Orleans in the 1830s, is recognized as America's first cocktail. Antoine Amédée Peychaud mixed cognac with his proprietary bitters, sugar, and absinthe in his pharmacy. A Sazerac requires precise ritual. Rinse a glass with absinthe, add whiskey, sugar, and Peychaud's bitters, garnish with lemon peel. New Orleans invented more: the hurricane, the grasshopper, brandy milk punch, the Ramos gin fizz, and countless others. Louisiana didn't just drink cocktails, it invented and elevated them to art.
Fact 5. Mardi Gras Indians create spectacular suits for one day. Mardi Gras Indians are Black New Orleanians who create elaborate hand-beaded and feathered suits honoring Native American culture. These suits take months to create, cost thousands, and are worn for one day. The tradition dates to the 19th century, developed as alternative Mardi Gras celebration when segregation excluded Black residents. Tribes create suits featuring intricate beadwork, ostrich and turkey feathers, and crown-like headdresses. Indians mask on Mardi Gras Day, parading through neighborhoods with drums and chants. The suits represent African American resilience, cultural pride, and traditions existing outside tourist gaze. Fact 4. The petrochemical corridor is nicknamed Cancer Alley. The 85-mile stretch from New Orleans to Baton Rouge hosts over 150 petrochemical plants and refineries. Communities here, predominantly Black and low income, experience cancer rates above national averages. Activists call it Cancer Alley, though industry disputes the connection. The plants provide jobs and tax revenue, but impose environmental costs on residents breathing polluted air. Environmental justice organizations fight for stricter regulations. The corridor resents Louisiana's Faustian bargain: economic dependence on oil and gas versus health and environmental costs borne by vulnerable communities. Fact 3. Jazz Fest is the best festival you've never attended. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival runs 2 weekends each spring, bringing 400,000 plus people to the fairgrounds for music, food, and culture. Multiple stages host simultaneous performances ranging from jazz legends to rock stars to gospel choirs to Cajun bands. The food is legendary: crawfish Monica, cochon de lait po' boys, alligator pie, mango freeze, and dozens of Louisiana specialties. The Congo Square stage celebrates African diaspora culture. The gospel tent brings church. It's overwhelming, exhausting, and transcendent. Jazz Fest captures Louisiana's cultural wealth, musical innovation, culinary excellence, and community celebration. Fact 2. The fleur-de-lis is everywhere and means something. The fleur-de-lis symbol appears throughout Louisiana, on the Saints logo, fences, architecture, tattoos, and jewelry. The stylized lily represents French royal heritage, Louisiana's colonial history, and distinct cultural identity. After Hurricane Katrina, the fleur-de-lis became a symbol of resilience and defiance. We are still here. It adorns everything from government buildings to home decor. Some criticize it for sanitizing colonial history, including slavery. Others embrace it as cultural marker. Regardless, the fleur-de-lis saturates Louisiana's visual culture, instantly recognizable as representing something distinctly Louisiana. Fact 1. Everything is better with hot sauce, and it's basically gospel. Louisiana produces Tabasco, Crystal hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce, and countless local varieties. Hot sauce goes on everything: eggs, pizza, boudin, po' boys, gumbo, red beans, fried chicken, oysters, even fruit. Restaurants stock multiple varieties. Families debate brand loyalty. The obsession reflects Louisiana's love of bold flavors, African and Caribbean influences that embrace spice, and refusal to eat bland food. Children grow up with hot sauce tolerance that shocks outsiders. Carrying a personal bottle isn't unusual. Louisiana's culinary identity demands flavor intensity, and hot sauce delivers. It's cultural shorthand for the Louisiana approach to life: add heat, embrace intensity, never settle for bland. Louisiana is a state that defies easy explanation. From pirates and presidents to swamps and hot sauce empires, from jazz and voodoo to drive-thru daiquiris and football obsessions, Louisiana operates by its own rules. It's a place where above-ground tombs make practical sense, where politics and corruption are performance art,
where every celebration involves costumes and parades. The state that gave America jazz, Tabasco, the cocktail, and the concept that pleasure shouldn't require apologizing. Where culture runs deeper than economics, where history layers like sediment, and where contradictions don't need resolving. They just exist together, creating something richer than consistency ever could. Louisiana wouldn't have it any other way. Laissez les bon temps rouler indeed.